Good afternoon. So today we will be discussing a particular portion, basically in the organizational theories, from where repeatedly, directly or indirectly, we are getting questions. So if you take into account the initial organizational theories, the classical organizational theories, and more particularly if you consider the most prominent of these theories, that is the Max Weber's theory. So with regard to the Max Weber's theory, there has been number of subsequent interpretations with regard to the idea of rationalization that Weber has given, or the idea of authority that he has discussed, idea of control, compliance that he has discussed. So there has been number of subsequent theorists who have commented on those ideas. Like if you take into account theorists like Talcott Parson, Alvin Goldner, or Robert Morton, and the various number of students of Robert Morton, like let's say Goldner, Peter Blau, Philip Sejnik, and also subsequent to that theorists like Robert Jackal, his idea of moral mage, bureaucracy as a moral mage, or subsequent to that, if you take into account the Weberian idea of bureaucracy and the domination considered from the critical school of thought and Marxist school of thought. So there has been number of interpretation, there has been large number of views, especially considering Weber's claim in his theory of bureaucracy, and thereby coming out with their respective opinion on that. So from this section we have witnessed in the recent past a couple of questions. So let me discuss today on this in these areas. See, all of us have already gone through your preparation. You must have gone through Weber's theory of bureaucracy. Now, Weber's theory of bureaucracy, to be very precise, it is defined through. It is basically, we can say, it is based on formalization, instrumentalism, and rational legal authority. So Weber's theory broadly is supported on the basis of the formalization, instrumentality, rational legal authority. Now, what is this formalization? Weber maintains that if you take into account these modern organizations, the individuals in these modern organizations are governed by the pre-existing written laws, rules, regulations. That means role and responsibilities with regard to these organizations are predefined, and the one who is occupying this position is governed by these predefined norms and is expected to comply to that, and that is what is basically referred to as formalization. Simply we can say this very famous, we can say very popular days in this context, that role makes a person. That in a modern Weberian style of administration, whoever goes to occupy this position, the individual has to act as per the requirement of that position, and the requirement of that position is already set. That means preset criteria, preset arrangement is already there, and this is moreover defined through written roles, regulations, procedures. So that is why the very role that is defined with regard to that particular position, the one who occupies that position, that individual, and its role is defined by the role that is already predefined. That's why it is referred, the role defines the person, instead of the person defining the role. So when you say person defining the role, this is referring to the human emotion, human values, human belief, human let's say own choices defining the role and responsibility in that position. In fact, if you take into account Weber specifically maintains that these characters, those are basically outside the organization. Moreover, those are basically belonging to something to the individual in the private space or the personal sphere, that should be avoided, because in the avoidance of these characters, like let's say the hatred, love, jealousy, or personal values and ideas, lies the efficiency. So the Weberian idea of bureaucracy is based on formalization, that is basically each and every position is governed by preset laws, rules and regulations. Second is instrumentalism. Instrumentalism basically means that if you take into account the organizations, in the organizations the various processes, mechanisms or arrangement that is in place are meant for achieving the organizational goal. So the same laws, rules, regulations that is already in place, the procedure or the mechanism that is in place within the organization, those are primarily established in order to help achieve the organizational goal. So that is why all those are nothing but instruments or means to attain organizational goal. That is what is instrumentalism. So Weberian model is based on formalization, is based on instrumentalism, and it is also founded on rational legal authority. That is, this particular organization operates on the basis of certain type of legitimacy, and here in the modern context it is based on law. The state, the law that is duly established by the state supports this organization, and its activities, its exercise of authority, everything supports by the state, the law that supports. So these are the defining characters of Weberian theory. But see, we need to take into account one major aspect on which, if you take into account this Talcott Parson, Alvin Goldner, Robert Morton, Peter Blau, or Philip Sejenik, a number of other theorists that we are going to discuss, they have taken note of this and they have basically debated upon that. See, the Weber's model is primarily emphasizing that this particular system of administration, which he refers to as a rational system of administration, or this what we are otherwise can refer that Weberian model of administration, is efficient, and within that organization, individuals who occupy the position, they are governed by preset norms and they carry out their responsibility as defined. But one aspect let's consider to begin with, that is, with regard to Weber's theory on bureaucracy, the problem of authority or dilemma of authority. Here we will be discussing the view of two theorists, Talcott Parson and Alvin Goldner.